Okay, I'm back. We're talking about variables, and a variable is a characteristic, a trait, or an attribute that can take on two or more possible values. This is on page 14. Um, the notion of variable becomes important somewhat later on in this course, the types of variables. But let me describe several kinds of variables that we deal with. And eventually I'll write this on my board when I do this at the board. We'll get back to this idea later on. But one type of variable is the metric variable. A metric variable can take on a range of numerical values. Usually you might consider a continuous range of numerical values. For example, how much do people weigh? So there's a variable that can be measured. And weight can be measured, in theory, about as accurate as you can. So it could take on not just whole numbers. You could measure weight down to the tenth of a pound, hundredth of a pound, thousandths of a pound. That's considered a metric variable. It can take on a sort of a continuous range within reason of values. Now, a more restrictive variable is called a binary variable. A binary variable can only take on two values. For example, yes or no, male or female, lived or died. We'll vote for this candidate or that candidate. That's a binary variable. Sometimes it's called a Bernoulli variable also. It's very restrictive. Now, in between is a type of variable called a categorical variable. And a categorical variable can take on more than two values, but it's not described by a number. For example, if you, what color of eyes do people have? What make of cars do people drive? Those are categorical variables. So let's look at the three types I mentioned here. The metric variable is measurable by a number. You measure the number and record it. And it can take on a continuous range of values. For example, weight, height, income, all those can be measured with those types of numbers. Blood pressure. A categorical variable is based upon a description, not necessarily upon a number. So we can't really calculate with a categorical variable. All you can do is count it. For example, what make of car do you drive? Or what type of job do you have? We can count the people who have, say green eyes versus the number of people who have blue eyes versus the number of people who have brown eyes. We can count those, but we can't calculate with those colors, for example. That's categorical. So you can't calculate with the variable measurement. All you can do is count it. Binary is even more restrictive. It's like a categorical variable, except there are only two possibilities, such as yes or no. So when you think about this, think about the amount of information involved. The metric variable has the most information, doesn't it? It carries the most information, and so we can study it the best, and it actually takes less data to arrive at a good conclusion. A sample of 30 metric variables considered normally a pretty strong sample. You could work with even less. But it doesn't take a lot. When you get down to binary variables, where there are only two possible outcomes, like the opinion polls, you need normally hundreds or even thousands of measurements in order to build a good conclusion. So because there's very little information there, just yes or no or male, female, or whatever, only two outcomes, the information is so paltry that you need a lot more data to get a good conclusion. Categorical is kind of in between, but you normally need quite a bit there. So those are three types of variables. There's another one called rank, where you rank something from, say, 1 to 10. I'm not sure this book covers it. We don't cover it in the course, and quite frankly, I haven't studied it. So, but I'm sure their statistics has been developed for that type of variable also. So anyway, those are some types of variables there. Page 17, upper right corner, a constant always has one fixed value. Okay, so let me see. Don't worry about it. Okay, what else can I talk about here out of this chapter? Well, I think that probably about wraps up chapter 1. So, it wouldn't be a bad idea to, again, to skim through these chapters. It would be better to, I think, to read the book before you listen to my videos. If you're going to read the book. If you don't read the book, can you get by with just my videos? I hope so. But I think from time to time it's probably a good idea to read that book. And so that was chapter 1. And I'll close it out there and we'll go on to chapter 2 next.